All right. Strap on in for another episode of Breaking the Mould. I'm your host, Sean Greer. Today's episode of the podcast is brought to you by Voltex Services, the punctual tradies that treat your home like a home and not like a job site. And Element Interiors, commercial shop fitting company bringing your lifelong dream to reality.
On this episode, we're super pumped to have the amazing Aimee Stanton.
First of all, thanks for coming on. How good's that? My wife has been so excited. She's been, do you know this? Do you know this fact about Aimee? She absolutely loved you on the show. How was the experience on House Rules, and how did you get in there? How did you get into it originally? What was the idea?
Well, so I've actually always wanted to be on House Rules. I'm like, that's a show that I'd be like good at, maybe, kind of. And then, so we actually applied the year before with, we were kind of saying, oh yeah, we're about to buy a house, blah, 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 blah. And then they're like, oh, we want you on. Do you have a house? And I only had my investment property, and I didn't really want to do that because it's not emotionally connected to me. So that didn't work out. But then the next year they called me. They're like, oh, you got a house? I'm like, that's so weird. We've literally just bought a house. And I'm not even joking. They came over. It was like we bought it. We didn't buy it for the show, but we bought it and it was settling. And then within 4 days of moving in, we were shipped off to House Rules. So
wow, that's crazy.
I know. It was.
Were you expecting the follow up from them, like to contact you the next year, or?
Oh no, not at all. I got this call, and I didn't even know who it was, and it was, Aimee, do you want to be on TV? And I'm like, who the heck is this? And I'm like, what's going on? And then it just worked out. Kane and I had bought this house, like absolute shitter inside, but on our dream block of land.
Nice.
And I remember the guy who built it he sold it to us, and we were like, literally, he was still there when we were filming stuff, like, because he was just getting his stuff out and everything. And he's just like, what's going on? I'm like, oh,
who have I sold this house to?
Yeah, pretty much. This guy rocks up with a camera and he, like, final inspection, before it settles.
Yeah.
You have a final inspection. Well, ours was going around like saying, we're going to knock this out. We're going to knock this out. And, but so then we moved in. The next day was photos. The next day was filming our backstories, and then we were off for 6 months. So
wow.
I just always say,
did they come in with things telling you that they're going to like move these walls? Did they say that, or was that your plan when you moved in? Or
we kind of we were always gonna, when we were looking at buying it, we're like, yeah, we'll knock these walls out, we'll do this. But you don't really get to choose what happens to your house. You kind of do the rules and say what you want, but then it's like, it's on, like,
it's free for all.
But it's like I wasn't even scared. Kane was a bit scared, but seriously, I come home from work and I'm just so grateful. Like I was saying the other day, I sit there and I'll see a cushion and it's still got a price tag on it, and it will say $70, and I'm like, oh my god, I got this beautiful cushion for free. Like it's just the most amazing, and you can see it now. Like, look
how good is it? Yeah, I love the timber paneling. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great feature wall. I look professional on Zoom calls.
Yeah, you look dynamite. Was it hard being a plumber on there and not like being out? Can you actually perform plumbing work in the other people's homes?
Because it's kind of done by licensed builders. Our license doesn't cover it. So literally, I didn't really even pick up that many tools because I was always out shopping. I was out shopping all day, every day, because you had to buy so much stuff. And then I really thought it was like it wasn't going to get done in a week. When they're like, all right, we got a week. I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, you've seen the show, you got a week. I'm like, oh, that's true. Oh, shit.
You thought it was going to be like stages.
I thought that was just for TV. And then you're up every night till about 2 a.m. making mood boards. And then, but within saying that, in between the renos, you stay in Sydney and do judging, and then just kind of go out and get pissed every night. So it's a happy balance.
It's fun. Yeah. And you would have got, make some really good friends with the people that are in the show with you and going out with them. You're like living with them basically.
Oh, 100%. We were all living in each other's hair in hotels for
Yeah.
6 months together. So we're all, best mates now. It's
Well, yeah, I've always wanted to go on a show like that, and I always thought it'd be frustrating waiting for an electrician to come, and you're like, come on, man, just get in here and do this job. Like, is it all planned prior with those guys coming in? Like, what about when things are missed and have to come back?
Well, you're basically the project manager. And I think that's why Kane and I did really well some weeks because we were very up and down, depends how we felt.
Yeah.
Because Kane's a foreman
Oh,
and
okay.
he's managed jobs with 500, 600 people on before.
Yeah.
So going on to house rules, it's all about organizing your tradies.
Yeah.
Actually, as you would know, being in the trade, kind of getting along with them, bantering with them, talking shit, and then they'll do things for you.
100%. Yeah. If you're not like polite, they're not gonna bend over backwards for you.
Yeah. So we just became friends with them all, and then
Yeah, nice.
that it would be good if they would come to our jobs and so it was still bloody stressful though.
Yeah, I can only imagine like 7 days. That's insane. Turnaround.
Well, put into perspective, the penthouse, the first reno we did, there was probably about in that one penthouse 70 trades
Oh my God.
on site.
Jesus.
Plus cameramen, plus producers, plus
yeah, right. And then and what people don't realize as well is like each tradie has a tool bag and a bunch of stock and a bunch of material that's up there as well. So it's just like carnage. There'd be stuff everywhere.
They're lucky they're so organized with it all because they've done it for a fair few years. But it's honestly the most. I don't get stressed easy, but it was the most stressful thing I've ever done.
What about the creative side of it when you go through the process of actually designing the house? Like, do you both sit down together and do you have any tips or anything that made that process streamlined towards the end?
Yeah, well, at the start, we kind of went in blind. We thought being tradies, we've got this in the bag. This is going to be easy. We know our way around a job site, but it's all about design. And we're probably like you, where people are like, go hard or go home.
Yeah.
So in the first week, we did the most stupidest shit, like the crappiest design ever. I was so embarrassed by it. But then I started to realize, like, to be good in this competition, and I suppose in life in general, is you need to kind of step out from the ordinary, and you need to do things that other people aren't doing. You can't just go on Pinterest and look up, and then it kind of goes down to the whole thing of, because we were in the tent twice, but then we also won twice, I think. And with us, it's like, whatever we're going to do, we're going to put our heart and soul into it. And be different from the rest. Sometimes it'll work and sometimes it doesn't. And that's just the same in life. Sometimes you'll fail, which I fail all the time. And sometimes you absolutely smash it out of the park. So.
That's right. But then you learn from those failures. Like, that's a part of it. Without failing, you're not learning anything as long as you're reflecting, which you guys like.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I love failing.
Yeah.
I love failing so much. Like, I was saying last night in my workshops I run, I was saying, like, I fail probably, 19, 20 times to my one win.
Absolutely.
But people only ever look at you for your wins and be like, oh yeah, Amy's doing all right. We're like, yeah, I'm doing great, but it's because I failed 10 million times before this.
Exactly.
You forget about those times.
Everyone forgets, but everyone doesn't realize the journey that you've taken, like the lessons you've learned, tiny ones, big ones, small ones. It's hilarious. But the true strength and growth is when you actually realize that you've failed and you've learned a lesson from it. And without that, you cannot progress. You just, that didn't work. I don't know why it did work, but that just didn't work. See you later,
It sounds like we're on the same wavelength.
Yeah, absolutely.
I get excited when I fail because it's like, oh my God, yes, that's another way I know not to do it.
Yeah.
I'll cross it off the list and go to the next way and see if that works.
And then you're constantly pushing the boundaries as well. What you were saying, you didn't just go on Pinterest and you didn't just go on those options. You actually, looked at it from a different perspective and thrown yourself essentially off a cliff in the creative space to go, all right, like, how can we do this our way, you know,
Yeah.
and you would have been uncomfortable doing that initial move, but paid off.
Putting your personality into it, and that's
Yeah.
what people love,
And
seeing a bit of your stuff.
that's
So,
the missing
yeah.
ingredient for a lot of things. You can design all these beautiful things, and you can have a formula for all of it, but without the personal twist and without the personal touch and care and love, it's not unique, which is what you
Oh,
guys portrayed on the show, which is awesome.
thank you. I think it's the same for kind of a brand as well. If like with what you do, if you're not putting your personal brand into it, people kind of leverage towards a personal brand, and lots of
Yeah.
companies kind of, just push out their brand and not who they are or what they do as a person.
I know. It's really funny because that is exactly what I recognize in the industry as well, is that people are afraid to, be shown for their company. Like myself, the whole design of this is to say, hey, this is who we are, and this is our values, and this is what I believe, and this is why my company's around. You know what I mean? When a lot of people are like, oh, no, just get someone else to come and do the media, and I'm not here. I'm not here.
Just Homer Simpson going into the bush.
Yeah, on Ned Flanders. I actually read something pretty interesting about you, that you walked 600 Ks from Melbourne to Canberra. What was that about?
Yeah. Yeah. Firstly, I wasn't on drugs. It was just like that's what lots of people think. Like, what was wrong with you, Aimee? You must have been lost in life. I'm like, no, I wasn't lost. I'm very stubborn, Sean, and if someone kind of tells me I can't do something, I have to do it.
Yeah.
I was at the pub having a few beers, and I forgot who it was. They were like, "Oh, Aimee, you can't walk from Melbourne to Canberra." I don't know what brought it up, and I'm like, "Yeah, I can. I can do that. I can do that." And then so literally, it probably would have been a few days later. Grab my backpack, my Kmart tent, roll of toilet paper, and I'm like, "See you, mum. Bye, dad." And they're like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "I'm walking to Canberra." And then I said it to mum, like, "At least I'm not on drugs. I'm just going for a walk." And
Wow.
honestly, that really tested who I was as like a person.
Oh my
And
God, yeah.
actually, I'm just going to backtrack from that, because how I kind of got to that position and being that person who was like, no, I'm going to be stubborn and do these things and live the life that I want to live, is when I was in high school, I was really materialistic.
Yeah.
So I was always caring what people thought of me. It was all about, oh, how do I look to this person? It got so bad after school, me and my partner at the time, we bought a house together, and I literally bought the house because I was like, oh, my friends are going to think I'm cool. Like, people are going to think, wow, look at Aimee. She's got a house.
Yeah.
No one said that. No.
No.
I had a $40,000 car, which came with obviously a $40,000 loan.
Yeah.
I had a pet pig named Constable Crackles.
Nice.
That's another bottle of wine.
Yeah, nice.
But and I was so unhappy. I looked like I lived the perfect life, but I was so unhappy. And then it all built up. And one day, literally probably about 5 days after I moved into the house, I said, no, this is, I'm not living my life this way. And me and my ex-boyfriend, we broke up. He was great. It was nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
We broke up. We sold the house.
Wow.
I gave my pet pig away, sold the car. Actually, no, I rocked up to mum's with my pig. Mum, I'm like, hey, dad, mum, can I move back in? And they're like, what the hell, you have a pig, Aimee? And then from there, I kind of decided I wasn't going to live for like a materialistic life. I was going to live for the experiences.
Nice.
And then
at what age was that?
I think I was 21. I was 21. So I was quite young.
Yeah.
I had before that, I was, the little shit that got expelled, didn't know what direction to head in life. But I was so lucky at 21, I kind of realized how magical life can be, and how there's so much more than just going to work and watching Netflix.
That's crazy.
And I'm so glad I realized it at that age, because ever since that day, my life has just been like the most beautiful thing ever. Everyone has hard days, but that kind of got me to where I was with that.
That is
there.
so cool because I went through that phase of growth at 28, 29. So to
Oh,
have to have that at that younger age is part of my journey now, is to try and, as you are doing the same thing, get these young adults to try and learn these things like at an early age. It wasn't until I went to a seminar where they were talking about all this stuff, and it actually just
yeah.
like they said like a few things, and I was just like bang, 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 and I was like, that's what's going on. How have I not recognized this? And then I was like, and then I just saw it showing up in other areas of my life, and I was like, this isn't right. What is going on? So it took a long time to like peel the onion off myself, and then you really start working on myself. I'm married with 2 kids, and I wanted to really, get into a space where I was okay with me, so then I could be the best for them. You know what I mean? And it's taken me about, a year, and it's a constant process. You got to try and catch yourself out when you're self-sabotaging and things like that. But, at the age of 21, to have those tools, that's incredible. That's awesome. Like, I'm blown away that you had that realization. And it led you to walk 600 Ks.
And that's great to hear about you as well, like that. And I feel like everyone's going to have that realization in their life, if it's at 21, if it's at 28,
Yeah.
or if it's at 90 laying on your deathbed.
Yeah.
But that's kind of not the road you want to go down.
It's like a light switch, and you're like, wow, what was I doing?
It is.
And it's like...
It's like a light switch that goes this stupid saying of like, you only live once, and it's like, oh my God. I do.
Yeah. Mine was your life is your own. I thought there was a predetermined track for me. And then I was like, what am I doing? No, I choose my actions every day. I choose the result I'm giving and the way I perceive it. And I was like, what have I been doing?
100%. I love that so much. And everyone has to kind of the moment you kind of you realize that everything you've done up to this point is your own fault, even if you got in a car crash or whatever. You just take responsibility for it. And you're like, I could live a good
responsibility, learn, let's move on.
Yeah.
Like,
just going to go back to the Canberra story.
Yeah, I was going to say, so like, let's start at the start of that and then go, I want to know what happened on that trip. Like,
oh God. So after I kind of realized the whole life thing, that I got to start smashing it out.
Yeah.
I left, and I think because I held myself accountable for it, I posted on Facebook that night. I'm like, I'm walking to Canberra.
Wow.
But I think I said I'm heading in the distance to Canberra, just in case I didn't make it there. I'm heading that way. We'll see. And it was 100% the most challenging thing I've ever done, just being out there solo walking. I was probably walking about 12 hours a day in 30, 40 degree heat with a 20 kilo backpack. And when it was nice because my parents would kind of, on some weekends, they would come up and meet me on the weekend and hire a B&B, and then I would stay with them for the weekend, and then I'd go off again. And the first thing, so much crazy shit happened to me, Sean. Like the first thing,
I can imagine.
So the first thing, I got my bag stolen. I literally got everything I owned stolen. I was in Albury. It was probably my own fault. I put it down in a bush, stolen everything. I was left with my thongs. I had my phone. So then I think it was the next like 200 Ks, I walked in my pluggers. So I just walked in my thongs. I had an Aldi bag. Everyone thought I was homeless because I'm just walking along the road, because these roads would go for Ks.
Yeah, I've driven a lot of them. I've done a lot of driving. It's nothing there either.
There's not. But so I'm just walking along, and it was so insane that you just think a lot, and you really get to see Australia so close and so personal, and pay attention to it and really connect with nature. I got lost in the forest for 2 nights. I thought I was going to die. A tree And it was around Australia Day, and I'm sitting there like not knowing where I was in this forest, near my tent by myself, obviously. And then just see all my friends are getting pissed right now on
Yeah.
Australia Day, and I'm stuck in a jungle not knowing if I'm ever going to get out. What am I doing? Then a tree lopper found me. He took me to a local caravan. I was like, it was crazy. It
No
was,
way.
I had 3 cans of tuna left. I think I had shoes at this point. Yeah, I had my shoes
Wow.
back. And yeah, so it was just such a full-on experience for like a young girl like myself to experience. I was sleeping on the side of the road.
Yeah.
I think that was the one thing that I wanted to conquer. I wanted to
Yeah.
firstly on the trip enjoy my own company, because you were constantly in your head for 12 hours a day walking and walking, but you meet the most awesome people and you really get to connect with local towns.
Yeah.
But then I finally got to Canberra and I'm just like, well, there's nothing here.
Yeah.
Why the hell did I choose Canberra?
Yeah.
No,
Just
I'm
walk
pretty
on. Just walk
I'm pretty
on.
sure I spent the night there and then just hitchhiked to Mount Kosciuszko or something. And I was like, that was a fun trip. Need to do it again sometime.
Yeah, all right. And did you fly back or just get
No,
drive back?
I hitchhiked.
Oh, wow.
I hitchhiked to back to Albury, and then I met my partner there,
Yeah.
and then I met Kane there. Then we went and did Mount Kosciuszko. But it was like I want to do it again. I always like I really want, not Canberra maybe, but I just want to do that stuff that just puts you in a different world and
Yeah.
kind of out of the usual. I love it so much.
There's one thing I've been wanting to do is, you know, Kangaroo Island?
Yeah.
Small island off of South Australia. And me and my friend have had this idea for a couple of years now to go there with just like a rucksack like you did.
Yeah.
And see if we can walk around the whole island and
That's
live off the land, so to speak. So like fish for our food and all that sort of stuff. And it's all pretty well covered by beaches all the way around. But it would be a pretty gnarly experience, I think, and it's something I really want to do.
Just do it.
Yeah, I think we should tee it up, get it done.
100%. Just get it done. It would be the best but worst experience of your life.
No,
that sounds amazing.
Yeah, I have a strong passion for the camping side, and then also trying to you know hunt for myself with like fishing and things like that. And I've been trying to plan these trips with the guys for a little while and see if I can survive a little bit out there in the real world, the Bear Grylls style. But
I love it.
A few of my friends are like, yeah, I'll see you there, mate. There's one dude that's like, yeah, I'm in. Let's tee this up. So we're just trying to
go by yourself, because then you can at least sneak pudding cups in and no one will know.
Yeah, nice. One of the things that I would love being out there and where you were in particular is just like the night sky. And a lot of people that are city bound don't get a chance to get out to the outskirts and actually look up and see that. Like, it is amazing at nighttime how littered the sky is with stars. It's
absolutely beautiful, and there's no bloody cars everywhere. It's just everyone needs to do it. Like not everyone needs to walk to Canberra or go around Kangaroo Island, but everyone needs to just go sleep under the stars. It's one night of being uncomfortable.
Check it out. Yeah, you'll learn something about nature and yourself.
Yeah.
How do you get into Survivor? Like, you're like a TV show weapon. Just ding, ding, ding.
My friends just always, they just beg me out and tell me it's because I can't be bothered getting a real job. So I just go from reality TV show to reality.
Just one after the other. Next one.
Well, that actually, because as I said, I'd always wanted to be on House Rules, but Survive actually happened from walking to Canberra. I filmed my friends are like, oh, you should go on Survivor, and I'd never watched it before, and I'm like, a what? What's a Survivor? I'm like, yeah, it sounds like something I'll be into. And I filmed my video when I was doing the walk to Canberra, and I'm basically like, hey guys, just walking to Canberra. I haven't showered in like 20 days. And they were like, yep, this is a girl. Like, she's in.
Let's go. Tick.
She's in. So I I didn't really know. Like, honestly, I'm the worst liar. I can't lie and deceive. And I didn't know that that was what the whole show was about. I
Mm.
was like, I'm just here because I want to get drunk in Jury Villa or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But and then so I get on it. I rock up, I'm like wearing half a like the smallest mini top you've ever seen in short shorts. Like, hey guys.
Yeah.
It was freezing. Two guys got hypothermia on the show. And then yeah, like it was I remember one night there was full on hailstorms because you were literally in the rough of it. That's another thing that isn't fake. They
Yeah.
give you nothing. I was already I was
Wow.
probably about like I'm skinny now and I was probably about 10 kilos skinnier than I was then. And then I lost another 10 kilos
No way.
in 3 weeks on top of that.
Oh my God.
From so if you want to lose weight, sign
Yeah.
up to Survivor.
Get in there. It's the program.
It's so
So
and
they
that was
just
just
do they pick your clothing for that? Like they were just like, this is what you're wearing. You're like, sweet. I'm
no,
freezing
so
now.
you get to no, it's just because I'm a goose and didn't know
Yeah.
that it was cold out there.
Yeah.
You wear your one outfit there, and then
Yep.
you get 1 week in, you get 4 other pieces of clothing,
Mm.
but they're not like a top, two tops. They're like underwear,
Yeah.
so that they have to be so it's like a pair of undies, a bra,
Yeah.
another top, and a jumper. So I didn't get my jumper till a week in. And I was just like I really enjoyed
Wow.
Survivor. I'm so close to everyone from it, but I just can't lie. Like people are always, going
Mm.
off in little groups.
Yeah, manipulating people and
Yeah. And
yeah.
this is how silly I was. I thought I was top dog. I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in a cool group, and then
Yeah.
I remember walking up to these two guys that were talking on the beach, and I'm like, "Oh, what are you guys talking about?" They're like, "Oh, the weather," and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, sweet." And then I got booted that night, and I watched it back. I'm like, "You weren't talking about the weather."
I'm on to you guys. It doesn't make sense. Something here is not right. So that they don't give you anything, no food, nothing. You
They
just
give
gotta
you rice,
like
but
what they do on the show, yeah, right. And you have to win it most of the time, don't you?
yeah, so they give you rice and beans, and you just like we were things like getting salt water and putting it on our rice so it tasted better.
Oh
And you're
wow.
full on making like you're sleeping in the mud, literally sleeping in the mud when it's pissing down. Just imagine going outside in a storm when it's pissing down and just sleeping in the mud in like a mini skirt. Like
That that doesn't sound ideal. I would have been just hugging someone. Come here.
well, you do, you all
Yeah.
kind of hug each other and
Yeah, right.
and it's so and I remember at the end of you like after the after party thing, one of the because you can't talk to the cameraman or anything. Like
Oh.
they're a fly on the wall. If you say something, they just won't answer. And it's like,
How weird is
okay.
that?
Yeah, I know. It's so like, and you just have someone like with a camera filming you while you sleep, like where you just, shivering your balls off. And one of the cameramen told me like, "Oh, Amy, you should have seen the amount of times a rat ran over your face when you were sleeping." I was
Oh
like,
my God. Oh my God. That's so creepy in a way, like that they're just like, hey. And you're
yeah,
just like asleep and they're just like,
yeah,
Amy
yeah. So
sleeping.
you do get
Like,
you do like the only time you can get privacy is because in Samoa where I did it, normally you're allowed to go to the toilet wherever, but the Samoa had different rules, so there was a drop toilet there.
oh, that's
So
yeah.
you got to go,
To the actual toilet.
to the toilet,
That's
but
awesome.
it was literally just covered by a tree, and it wasn't. Trust
Yeah.
me, it was a pile of leaves with a little pedestal on
Yeah.
top. Like it was.
A bucket with a hole in the bottom of it. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
the
It was
not the
literally.
Ritz, like
It was. It wasn't ideal.
that's so good. Yeah, that mentally that would have been absolutely, you know, beating but you've gone from strength to strength, like mentally through the walk, and now you're in Survivor and just constantly, throwing yourself off that cliff, as I said before. So, any mental struggles throughout the process of this? Did you have any moments of?
Honestly, I think when I was younger, I had depression and I was really self-conscious, and that was when I was younger. But I don't know, when I made that shift,
Mm,
I'm very mentally strong, and I know there's people on the show that struggled a lot throughout because it's so hard, and it's not really about the sleeping in the mud and stuff. You get over that, but it's
yeah,
about people talking about you. It's like in real life, if you're
yeah,
in the school, people are going off whispering. So, but I was really, I would honestly say, uh, House Rules was harder, way
right,
harder than Survivor. Survivor was hard physically, but House Rules mentally, you're creating, you're creating stuff for the whole of Australia to watch on TV. What you've created,
yeah. Within seven
Survivor, you're
days.
kind of, yeah, within 7 days, and
Yeah,
Survivor, you're standing there in a bikini looking not really pretty because you're covered in shit. But
yeah.
but
Yeah,
so House Rules was actually really hard for me, especially the first few weeks when it's like if you don't up your game, you're not getting your house renovated.
yeah,
But
right.
Survivor was, yeah, so I actually was okay with Survivor, but I know a lot of people have struggled
Yeah,
mentally.
I guess with those guys, the struggle would have been around not being comfortable by themselves as well. Which
Yeah,
you
that
essentially
was
did
fun.
you did training for it. Like you were like,
Yeah,
no worries, I've been alone. I don't need you guys.
yeah,
And they're all
yeah.
like
That's
they're all breaking down because they're used to getting all this social acceptance and stuff, and it's just not happening.
100%. And I tell you what, as well, a lot of people from other years, like that has that is their like getting on Survivor
Mm,
is the best thing that's ever happened them in their life.
yeah,
I was I do things and then I move on.
yeah,
But you know where the but I think the hardest bit is with any reality TV show, anything like that, and you would know from what basically anything that's really uplifting and you have high spirits, the moment that goes away, like think about we were on House Rules 6 months, going around, going to bars, renovating, having fun, staying in hotels, but then
yeah,
you go home isolation.
yeah.
Or with Survivor, you're doing all this crazy stuff every day, and then you go home to kind of
The
what
world.
some people think is yeah, the real world. And
Yeah,
people really struggle with that.
yeah,
I I'm lucky I move on quickly and okay,
yeah,
what's the next adventure? What's the
yeah.
next thing I'm gonna do?
Chalk it
But
up. Let's
people,
go.
yeah,
Some people
yeah,
get
sweet,
stuck
done
and
that.
they're like, oh my god, like why are we living like this? You're like, yeah,
Yeah,
cool. That was an awesome experience. I've grown from it. Let's go. What's next, guys? What's on the chopping block?
yeah, 100%. Like people still say, like, oh, if in Survivor you didn't make that move and then I did that, I would have won. And they live in
Oh,
that regret.
yeah.
And I suppose that people live in that regret in the real life too. And it's like, guys, just get over it, move
Oh,
on.
that's yeah. Everything happens the way it's supposed to happen, and that's
Yeah.
you can't argue with reality. That's what happened.
Yeah, and that's so true. And then within saying that, like obviously, like getting, I think I got booted fifth or something. Yeah, it was fifth. I didn't really. I was like, sweet, that was an experience. I got to go to the Philippines for 6 weeks while they was still starving, so I was fine with that. But if I made it any, obviously, you're a bit disappointed you don't make it further. But if I
Yeah,
made it any further in Survivor, I wouldn't have got on House Rules and got, you know,
yeah,
a whole house reno, so everything happens for
absolutely.
a reason.
Yeah, you're on the path you're on for a reason, and like
Yeah,
day to day, and that's what I was saying before about the decisions you make day to day. You can actually tilt your outcome by following through on your plan, actioning your plan, or doing what you believe is the right thing to do, and not lying and not
yeah,
being deceitful, and just as you were on the show. I mean, the show brings that out in people by just
yeah,
naturally because that's what it's about, right? But yeah,
yeah,
it's so interesting. Yeah, watching people go through that phase, and I think that
yeah.
you were like, yeah, essentially training for that, and you in the 600K
Yeah, I
walk,
was.
like you were like, let's do it, let's go.
I'm great. I'm great, but like I love spending time with myself.
Yeah,
Like I don't actually have. I have a lot of friends, but I don't have a ridiculous amount of
Mm.
friends because I like my couple of groups,
Yeah.
but I love spending time with myself. Like,
Yeah.
and I think that's the first step to sh- living an awesome life is
Yeah.
loving yourself, loving spending time with yourself.
Yeah. Valuing your time, having a value
Mm,
on it, what you're doing with it as well, and who you're spending it with, can be a reflection of, everything around you and what comes out. What point did you get into the trade world? Like, what was the transition from school through? Was that through before Survivor?
yeah. So I actually studied beauty therapy. I was like, I studied beauty therapy because I didn't know what I wanted to be. I thought I was dumb. Not saying people who do that are dumb. I just kind of thought, oh,
Yeah.
all my friends are going down that road. I'm useless. I'll just go down that road too. And then couldn't paint nails. Was really crap at it. Couldn't do that.
Yeah. You're
Like,
like, nah.
oh well, because I was like, I really wanted to be the red wiggle, and I've told a few people this, and I remember I told my careers teacher, I'm like, I want to be the red wiggle, and they're like, Aimee, that's not going to happen. You need to think of another pathway in life. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
fine, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I think it was kind of the same thing as the whole walk to Canberra. Someone kind of said, well, you can't you can't be a tradie. Like, don't be stupid. And then
It's
I'm
outrageous.
like,
Yeah.
you know what? So off I hop.
Yeah.
My dad's a builder, so I did some work experience for him, and then I did my pre-app in plumbing after school. And then from there, I applied for 120, 150 jobs
Wow.
it to be a plumber
Wow.
and like a first year apprentice. And I heard back from one.
Wow.
So,
It's
so my
incredible.
confidence was a little, yeah,
Yeah.
a
You're
little
like,
down.
yeah. Okay. Okay.
All that- And I was always, and I remember I was just saying, oh, it's because I'm a woman, because I'm a woman.
Yeah.
But then I'm thinking back now, I bet you I had spelling mistakes in my
Yeah.
resume.
What was the resume like? Yeah. Yeah.
It would have been. So I got the job, and I in my first week, oh my God, it was just like, picture like the worst apprentice times a million. Like, I was the most loveliest person ever. I fell the first job we worked on, I fell through because I was doing roof plumbing. I fell through the roof
Wow.
and I landed on this guy eating a sandwich. And I just still remember hanging there, and he's because it was like their lunch shed thing, and he's looking up, and I'm like, how you going, mate? And he's just like looking at me. I'm just dangling there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then the next day, like, I crashed my car through the job site fence.
Wow.
And then I got a piece of metal stuck in my butt. Like, I accidentally sat on it, and all the guys like, I'm not touching it. I'm like, just get it out.
Yeah. Get out
And
of me.
I had to go to hospital to get it like surgically removed, this
Wow.
piece of metal.
Wow.
And yeah, so it was
Your boss is like, what is going on? Week 1? Jeez.
yeah. So after that week, I was like, should I really be doing this? Like, I'm just so shit. Like,
Yeah.
and then there, I'm like, you know what? I know I can be good at this.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
Commit.
and then commit, and it all went uphill from there.
What made you pick plumbing? Like, did you try it? Did you, when you were doing the building stuff with your dad, did you go, oh, like electrical, plumbing, air conditioning, carpentry? What made you stick to the plumbing? Was it a challenge?
I like poo. I like poo a lot.
Okay.
No, I'm like, I don't even, and that's another thing. Everyone thinks that plumbers just deal with poo.
Yeah.
And I specialize in mechanical plumbing now. That was my trade. I think I wanted to choose plumbing because there seemed like there was so many different avenues with it. Like, I could, I could go century, I could go HVAC, I could go whatever it is. And it just something I really wanted to kind of, I don't actually know. I don't actually know why I chose plumbing. I'm like, yeah,
that landed on it.
That sounds right. It's probably the only one I could get a job in.
A lot of people think that, like, as you said, like, if you're a plumber, you're just dealing with poo. Like, if you're a sparky, you're just putting in lights. Like, in each trade, there is like almost 1,000 different routes you can go and specialize in each trade. Like, you're not siloed anywhere. And
Yeah, what do you guys specialize in? So what's your
we do plumbing, electrical, and air conditioning, and we have
Yeah,
trades that go across residential, commercial, and industrial. So
yeah,
that's we
nice.
do literally everything, but we have people that specialize in each field, so they know what they're doing. And that's one of the things I've recognized in the industry is that there's a lot of people trying to get people to, sell them to become a plumber, sell them to become a sparky, sell them to become an air conditioning technician or whatever it is. And no one's, laying out the facts and saying, oh, like, this is what a plumber is, the whole thing, without the sales tactic. This is what a sparky is without the sales tactic, step by step. And I recently released that program called the STP, and we actually dissect those things in it, like what each field is, what the pay
I
rates
love
are,
that.
like what the day-to-day life is. And it's written by the actual the team out in the field. It's not written by people up here. I co-wrote it with them.
Yeah.
But like, you want the realness, you want the experience of what you have to actually do. And without people trying to sell you, be a sparky, it's the best thing ever. And then the stereotype of a plumber being, you only work with poo. It's like, mate, there is, like, I don't think my one of the plumbers I have here has unblocked a drain since he's been here in the last 6 months. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I Yeah.
it's insane. We have another company that's a shop fitting, and he's been on the shop fit outs and things like that. And
Yeah.
it's just very interesting that the trade world in general gets siloed, I feel, from a school perspective, as like, oh, you're going to be a tradie? What? Why do you want to go to uni? It's like, man,
Yeah.
like, trade world is like, it's epic. You do it working with your hands, and you can be your own boss pretty quick in the trade world if you really, knuckle down and work hard. Where
Yeah.
when you go to the university style, some of them, it's really hard to grow in those fields. I got friends that have
Oh,
done huge degrees, and they actually haven't been able to progress. Like, once they get out, this is the salary, this is what you do for the end of time. That's it. And
yeah. I'm feeling you. I like it. That's so true. And I always kind of say to people who are like, "Oh, Ames, I want to do an apprenticeship, but the money isn't that good." I'm like, dude, you're getting paid to study.
yeah,
You're not paying massive HECS fee. You're getting
yeah,
paid to immerse yourself in it. And yeah,
absolutely.
so
And that's one of the things they
yeah.
forget. Like, you're not actually going to get a debt at the end of it. You're getting paid to do it. Like, you
You're
can,
gonna get smash it out again.
yeah, and then
Like,
at the end of it, like, you have something they can literally take anywhere in the world. Like, you can be a plumber anywhere as long as you do,
oh,
a small test when you get there and understand their systems. But you can go anywhere.
100%. I did a thing called traveling tradies.
Okay.
We went to Brazil, and we just like, you kind of exchange your services for food and accommodation. And
Wow.
we went over to film their promo video, but it was just so much fun. I wasn't doing that much plumbing, but just nifty little skills, that they may not have the
Yeah,
ability to do, like
the
buying a
basic
TV or
essentials.
paint this, yeah, essentials. And you work for 2 hours a day we're on the beach, and then you just go out and explore and
That's so
it's
cool.
such, yeah.
I didn't even know that existed. What's that called again?
They're called traveling tradies.
Right, and it's like and they just go. Is it a form or an
Yeah,
organization?
it's an online, you do it online. So I know Adam, who's the
Wow.
CEO of it all, and he gets, say, hostels and things like that involved
Yeah,
that need fix ups, and they kind of write you a list of what needs doing. He'll send a
wow,
tradie over there.
that's so
You
cool.
apply. It's so cool, and it's so cheap to do. I think he's got a membership site, but it's like nothing to do it, and then you're just going, exploring, traveling the world. It's a bit harder at the moment. I think they're doing it
Yeah,
purely based in Australia at
yeah,
B&Bs and stuff, but oh, it was so much fun, and
that is
that's the
awesome.
perks of being a tradie.
Yeah,
You can go there, do that kind of thing.
what a way to travel the world. That's amazing, and you're
Mm.
helping people in need as well. Like, so I noticed that you guys have diversified into the tiny houses.
Mm. Yeah, so that's me and my brother Ben.
Yep.
So me and Ben kind of had the same path in life. He was an accountant. I was a plumber,
Mm.
and we kind of, I didn't really, I love the workplace I was working for, but I was like, I don't want to, this isn't me. It's not me working for a workplace like this. Great workplace. Ben was the same. Ben quit, went traveling for 5 years. I quit my commercial plumbing job and went traveling for 4 years or whatever it was.
Mm.
And then we kind of came back, and I all about turning your passion into profit.
Yeah.
So me and my brother, we sat down one night. We're like, oh, let's do something together. Like, we're best mates. And then we wrote a list of everything we love doing. And it was, building, working with our hands, sustainability, off grid. And we wrote this list, and we're like, okay, how can we turn this into something like a career or something,
Yeah.
and we're like, oh, let's build tiny houses and rent them out as short-term accommodation to get people off their iPhones and
Mm.
away from their bosses and enjoy nature. So
Wow.
not long after that, we bought a trailer and started. Our
Building.
dad being a builder, obviously, he had a lot of great ideas, and then we just started building one, and we've never, like, it's just been amazing. We've been overwhelmed with bookings and everything. So we're
Yeah.
just going to keep building them and then putting them in beautiful locations around Australia so everyone
so
can enjoy
cool.
them.
I mean, I love that you sat down with your brother and wrote a list of your passions. Like, that is so cool for someone that doesn't know where to start. Like, a goal to actually realize your goals and then start, transcribing them onto paper, and then, like, you guys sat down and formulated a plan to get there. How do we do it?
Yeah, and I that's what I'm all about. And then like, I run workshops on that shit just because I want to show kids, yeah, you can go to uni, do that, but always have something in the back of your mind as a side gig or whatever. I like, even some of the people I've worked with, this one girl, she's like, oh, Ames, I like something really weird. And I'm like thinking in my head,
What's gonna happen here?
yeah, I'm thinking sexual stuff, obviously.
Immediately,
Like,
yeah.
immediately would anyone. I just like, I like knitting, and I'm like, oh, cool, man. Like, she was about my age. I'm like, yeah, sweet. And she's like, I'm like, all right, well, let's workshop this out. And she liked knitting. She was really good at tech. So now she actually she built an online course to teach people our age how to knit, and it's going off. And that's just a side job, and she's doing something she loves. So just taking your passions,
That's awesome.
putting them in one, and also taking what you're good at as well, and the world's your oyster, really, anyone.
That, obviously, the process you've been going through and all the stuff that you've been leading up to has brought out your inner passion, really, just to help people in the end. Did that give birth to your How to Adult?
Yeah, so when I was in high school, I just kind of, as I said, I got expelled. I wasn't the world's best student, and I kind of like, we need to learn life skills. Like, life skills are way more important. So I always had it in my head to run these workshops that teach younger people how to do that kind of stuff, taxes, how to talk at a job interview, mental health, and even talk about like sex, drugs, booze, like saying, I'm not your mom, I'm not going to judge you, let's just talk about this stuff. And like, that went really well. I ran them at workshops and like, libraries and community centers, and I loved connecting with the kids. And then as I kind of started traveling and started up the business, I'm like, okay, I love helping them, but as you know, you've got to focus on, and that's something I find it hard to do, focus on like 1-2 things maximum. I'm like, so I always had in the back of my head, I wanted to run an online course. So I just recently did that, and it was kind of the same process, but more people, ladies my age, older. And I finished that last night. But now I'm like, all right, Aimee, you've helped people for a little bit. You can go back to it. So knuckle down on your tradie DIY presenting stuff, because that's what everyone loves, and that's how I'm going to build my brand and focus on that. Then I can help people soon.
Well, that's your largest platform to shout from, isn't it? Right, to get that, and then you can then diversify, further on from there as well.
Yeah, like that's my one goal and passion. What I'm focusing on at the moment, kind of going down the road of doing like DIY presenting, things like that, while still doing tiny stays.
That's so cool. Yeah, I would love to actually catch up with you, because that's some of the stuff that we are working on, trying to get these young adults into the trade and using that voice to change people's lives as well. That's the goal, right? And then to give them those options at a younger age, so they understand that decision. I mean, you probably would have been exposed to it, like having. How many traders have you heard saying, "Oh, if I knew this about the trade, I wouldn't have done it. I would have done something else. So I would have been a sparky, or I would have been a plumber. If I knew this about sparky, I would have been a plumber." It's like almost every second tradie says that.
But, 100%. I go into schools because I do a lot of talks at schools and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I go into schools at the same time, and I just plow out the trade thing. And I think that's probably why I'm never welcome back, because I'm like, don't worry about uni. Just
yeah. Uni doesn't matter.
But more about what you're passionate about. If you're passionate about accounting, go to uni, do that.
Yeah.
Like I don't like telling people what to do, but just do something you're going to enjoy. Don't do it because your Aunt Karen is going to be proud of you if you get a degree in business. Like,
exactly.
Who gives a fuck matter? Just go out and do what you want to do and be who you are.
Yeah, that's so good. And one of the things that the tools that they could give that you've already said is write down your passion.
Yeah.
Write down what makes you tick. I think that's the quickest way you can understand what you want to do in life, is if you start with a list and go, I love this, I love this, I love that. Well, okay, what on that list can you actually turn into a career?
Yeah, hundreds. I should send it to you so you can put it out there. But I have a worksheet called Passion to Profit, and it says the same thing. What am I good at? What are my passions? How could I turn this into a career somehow? And just putting your passions and what you're good at together. If you don't give up on it, you're going to absolutely excel in your field 110%.
Yeah, it might be a bit uncomfortable at the start, but once you break the crust of it, you will just be like, everyone will see your passion coming out, and that's what people want to see, the authenticity behind it.
Yeah.
And who's doing it? Where's the passion here? Is it just a transaction, or are you actually invested in this? Yeah,
and it's all about helping people, whatever it is. If you're helping people with even plumbing services, and
absolutely,
whatever it is, if you're helping people, you're gonna absolutely kill it. Then the success will come after. Just focus on helping people.
Yep, that is one of the biggest lessons I learned through business. Is when I started, it was about helping people. That's why I started. Then you get lost chasing the money. And then since I've woken up, I said about a year or two ago, I've gone, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And the business has literally done a 180 and just gone skyrocketed, because we're actually working on helping people now, not just trying to make a transaction.
Make money.
Yeah. It is actually insane. Once that shift happened, you can see on the cash flow sheets, it's just like doof, bang.
That's all you need to do. Not focus on the money and focus on helping people, and then the money will just flow after that.
Because that's essentially what a tradie is. A tradie just really likes to help people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's doing and I think you would have the same thing, seeing the client's face after you've done something.
Yeah.
Really great, or whoever it is.
Yeah.
It's a great thing.
Well, you turn that light on for the first time and they're like, oh my God. Or you show them the new shower you've just put in. They're like, oh my God, like, this is amazing.
Or the relief of you turn the water on, the relief of nothing's leaking. You're like,
I nailed it. Woo! Otherwise you'll be back to Homer Simpson going through the hedge.
I was leaking before. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. It's so funny. What do you consider your biggest failure?
Oh, wow.
That's deep. Real deep.
That is deep. See, that's real. Like, I'll think of one, but that's really hard to say, because everything that I've failed at has been for a reason.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I'll change it. What lesson?
What lesson?
What's the biggest lesson? Because that's what they are.
The biggest lesson I've learned in my life is learning is fun. Like, learning is good, and you should learn every day. Yeah. So when I transitioned from year 10, and I was my business management, and I always show students these when I'm doing school talks and stuff, my business management report was E, like
Yeah.
F, Aimee is shit, whatever the
Just
teacher
yeah,
wrote.
yeah,
And then deciding, you know what? I actually really want to learn about business. So then 1 year later, it's A pluses, A pluses, A pluses in business management because I decided I want to learn. And I wake up every day and try and learn something new. And
yeah,
going from when I was in school, hated learning, thought the system was shit,
yeah,
but now every day wanting to learn more and more about everything.
yeah.
That I just love it. So I just love learning so much.
It's
It's
funny when you have
definitely,
that the other side of the coin, because when you're at school, I was the same. I didn't really care much for
yeah,
the curriculum. I'm like, why am I even learning this? And
yeah,
I had ADHD and dyslexia, and
yeah,
if it's something that I'm not interested in, the focus is just. But
yeah,
then now I'm like so passionate as you are now about like
yeah,
learning and like finding out more information. It's I think it's more about if you can derive a passion to your learning, or
yeah.
and you see yourself growing, then that's
If
the
you Yeah, if you're doing something you actually want to learn, it makes a big difference. But never stop. If you're in a trade, like get that next ticket, do that next
yeah,
thing, whatever it is.
yeah,
Just keep salad and pushing yourself because, well, I feel like when you stop learning, you stop living.
100%. Yeah, learned mindset's one of the most important things. When you were in
Yeah.
the trade, what did you severe? What was the aha moments, or do you have any sort of advice for people getting into the trade, females from a female's perspective, and
I
what did you find challenging?
I think one of the what I did really well in my trade, and it's not that hard to do.
Mm.
I honestly think my two bits of advice for anyone doing a trade at the moment, starting an apprenticeship or wanting to get one, A is just rock up on time and put your
Yeah.
phone away. Like it's not that hard. And
Yeah.
two is actually get to know the people you're working with. For women, lots of women may think they can't relate to, a 60-year-old guy on the job site.
Mm.
But the moment you stop making about yourself and start asking about their life and having those interaction skills that you care about what they're doing and learning from them is the moment you're going to absolutely excel in anything. Like I always, people realistically, most people just only give a shit about themselves
Yeah.
and they're always waiting for the next time they can talk. So if you turn around and purely focus on someone else and getting to know them
Yeah.
at work, having banter in the smoko shed, asking about their kids or whatever it is,
Yeah.
that's when the whole thing will turn around.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be you don't have to have the best knowledge and skills, but if you're going in there every day, giving it a crack, getting along with everyone, not being, not like as an apprentice, you're gonna get like you just need to, people, you know what it's like as an
Yeah.
apprentice, like
You're gonna
everyone
you're
gives
gonna
you
cop some
shit,
flack. Yeah.
you're gonna cop it, but give it to them back. Like
Yeah.
'cause I get weird. I used to get such weird looks when I used to walk on site because I'm wearing pink socks. I got long blonde hair. Hey guys.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then when I was doing it, I had so much passion and it was kind of like I had to prove myself.
Mm.
So I put in 110% all the time. And I remember in my first year, I was walking past these, I think they were renderers. Don't
Yeah.
quote me to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and I was swearing to each other. And then I walked past, like, I'm so sorry, madame. And they're calling me madame.
What?
And, and then like I look like a lady until I open my mouth.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I'm like, oh, we're gonna have some fun there. And
That's so funny.
we're like, I'm like, oh, what for? They're like, we're swearing, it's not right in front of such a lady like yourself. And I just said, I'm like, I don't give a fuck, CUNT.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
I can almost
And like
picture your reaction right now, like from an outsider, just watching that transaction happening.
yeah. And they looked at me like, what the hell? I'm like, look, honestly, if you like, as if I care. If you want to get into a trade and be on the job site, you have to
Yeah.
learn to live with shit like that
Yeah.
and totally get around it.
I guess, and as
So
well,
I
in a
make
sense, don't judge yourself as different either.
no,
You know?
no, and I think there's so much talk about women in the trades and
Mm.
stuff, and I think one things I don't like is kind of like, obviously lots of big companies now have to have the quota of, oh, let's hire a girl so we
No,
fit in.
yeah,
But it, there's good girls and bad girls. Like there's good girls, good
100%.
boys, and bad girls. It's like just hire them for their skills. Don't hire them because they're
Yeah,
a girl.
yeah,
If they don't have the motivation, don't put them on. So it's
exactly.
just all about being 100% equal.
Yep.
And I think that's where I excelled most with, because I got along with the guys, got along with them so well. And Kane and I met on the job site
Yeah.
a couple of weeks later, like it's on.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. And it's so funny because a lot of I feel like a lot of people. Well, I've learned the hard way, going through staff members, but even just selecting by a resume is very, very difficult. You really have to actually ask them some like their passion questions and get to know them, because a CV, anyone can write that, and where's the passion? Where's the
Yeah.
accountability?
And it's sometimes the ones that write a good CV that may not be the best on the job site, kind of thing.
I
You have to
completely
get
agree.
them there. Like I think you don't even need a CV. You just need to get someone on site and see how they go for a week with
Yep.
with with your toughest employee, like the
Yeah.
one who's like
Yeah, yeah. And then
see,
just gives you a nod at the end of the day. Doesn't even talk to me. Just
yeah, sweet.
yeah. One of the things I said to because as you said, you get a bit bullied, or not bullied, but you get a bit of flack from the boys. Everyone does.
Yeah.
And I had
Yeah.
one tradesman that would always set me up for failure, and he would ask me to do something, knowing I wasn't able to do it. And then as soon as I couldn't do it, like his reaction wasn't laughter, it was blow up. And I'm like, what are you? I turned to him, I was like, oh, were you born knowing this, were you? And that sent him right off. Like, but then after that, after I turned around and said, look, I said to him, I'm not born. I said, what was it? Sorry. I said, were you born knowing this? And he looked at me and I said, if you want me to do something a certain way, just tell me how to do it and I'll do it. I'm here to learn. I'm not here to make your day hard, mate. Like, you tell me what you want and we'll be able to move forward. And from that day forth, he kind of just was like, he was like really respectful in the sense of like, just go do this, man. Yeah, if you're going to do that, this is how you're going to do it. And there was minimal blow-ups after that. Minimal.
Yeah, and that's all that like some people need, is be like, don't worry, you were in my position once. And then they're like, oh yeah, true. But
Exactly.
most people are really, if you show interest, they'll help you.
Yeah,
they'll help you.
And as you said before, like, rock up on time and don't burn your phone. And that's the interest part. If the tradesperson is seeing you rock up late and just like in between jobs, just on your phone, not caring about not preparing yourself for the next task, that's when they can get a bit annoyed. I've noticed it definitely, like through my apprenticeship. If I did that, they would be like, what do you mean?
Oh yeah, it's
you should have read the job card.
So simple to do. I want to go to like pre-apprenticeship classes and just like do a whole PowerPoint on just like, all right, this is what to do on your first day.
Yeah, this is how you talk to
people.
people.
Don't act like you know everything.
Yeah,
because you know nothing.
Yeah, ask questions.
I remember when I turned qualified, I bought in a cake, and because I was doing mechanical plumbing, and I wrote on the cake number one mechanical genius, and I spelled genius wrong with the icing, and everyone's like, you're such a dickhead. I feel like
it's like no regrets, not even one letter. It's so good.
It's all fun and games. And I think the other thing about doing an apprenticeship is, I always said I'm going to get an apprenticeship under my belt, then go out and chase my dreams. If all else fails, I have something to fall back on, because I've been doing plumbing, I've been a plumber for like, maybe even 8-9 years now, but I actually haven't worked on the job site in probably about 5 years, because I've been traveling. I've been doing stuff, doing the tiny houses, but it's still a great skill to have. And
it's always something to fall back on. 100%.
Yeah, do the walk of shame back into the job.
Yeah.
I know I told you to shove it, but I'm here.
I'm back.
Use it back again.
I'm actually have a little bit of a fear of going back, which I work on because I haven't been on the tools very often, and I'm telling the guys to do things, and they got their job cards and all that sort of stuff, and then every now and again we get so busy that they're like, hey, you got to come back on the tools. And I'm like, like, where are my hands? Where are my hands? I don't know what to do. And
Oh my God, it is so like that.
it's so nerve-wracking. And it's like, you're just constantly thinking like, don't fuck up. And then you think that they're watching you. And you're like, oh man, and they like, hurry up, do the PowerPoint up, like get out of their way. Like, it's so funny.
But then like after 5 minutes, I did the same thing. I went back to work for like 2 months.
Yeah.
And I'm like for a big company, and I was like, oh my God, I haven't done any plumbing in like 4 years.
Yeah.
And then the moment you get back into it after like 5 minutes, you're like, oh yes. So
yeah.
like,
it's like instantly. Yeah. Once I locate all my tools, it's okay because like they get scattered, right? You're like, oh, now I'm gonna get all my tool bag back together. That's awesome. I've had a really good time talking to you today. It's been amazing.
No, thank you so much. And
No
good luck
problem.
with everything. I can't wait to listen to all your podcasts. You're gonna absolutely kill it.
No, thank you so much for coming on and being a good sport. And I hope you enjoy the mint hat and all that gear that we sent over.
Best thing ever.
February, my marketer was like, check this hat out. You reckon she would like it? And I was like, yep.
It's like you literally know me. Like I got it. I was like, is this a joke? This is like, this is me to a T.
This hat defines who I am.
I should have been wearing it now. Like,
no, that's cold.
No, it's a ripper. Thank you so much for that.
Problem.
Yeah, good luck with everything, and I'll speak to you soon anyway.
All right, thanks so much.
All
Thank
right,
you so much.
Thank you so much. Have a
See
good
you
day.
later. You too. See you, mate.
Bye.
Bye.